Akwa Ibom State marks 2015 International Youth Day celebration. Governor Domi Manuel calls on youths to serve as development partners with state government. Government to fully computerize health system in the state. Team Akwa Ibom to just concluded Special Olympic World Summer Games in USA in time zone with gold medals. Details of these and more. The 2015 International Youth Day celebration has been marked in the state with a call for the youth to be more responsible and serve as a necessary partner for the advancement of the state. The call was made by the state governor, Mr. Domi Manuel, while addressing the youth at an event organized by the state government to mark the day. Colonel Edemefreti reports of the event, which was held at the Ibom Halls grounds, brought together youths from the 31 local government areas of the state.
Significant for him as a youth and a governor who is concerned about developing the youths to advance the state. Reflecting on the theme of the day, Youth Civic Responsibility, Mr. Domi Manuel said it depicts partnership between the youth and the state and called for responsible involvement of youths in governance. The governor used the opportunity to express appreciation to youth and women in the state for the support he enjoyed from them from the era of his electionary campaign, said he was committed to developing youths in the state, promising that they will be proud of his government. While outlining his program geared towards developing the youths, which included skill development programs, Governor Domi Manuel pledged to make the state great, with a gap between the village youths and their town dweller counterparts eliminated. Using the example of Oron youths who successfully prevented vandals from tampering with public electricity armored cables, the governor urged the youths to play guards to public property, sustain their support to government by not distracting it through involvement in acts militating against success of its industrialization move, and be responsible enough to accord their elders the respect due them.
The theme of this year's International Youth Day, which is Youth Civic Engagement, is apt and contextual to me. It depicts a partnership between the youths and the state and underscores the fact that we are on the right track in our journey to the land of greatness. Our partnership is encouraging. It is a testimony, actually, to me, that the youth of Akwa Ibom State appreciate our modest effort at eradicating poverty and associated vices through creating employment and positively engaging our people. It is a vision we shall sustain and jealously guide. Let me announce to you that your leadership begins today, not tomorrow.
Speaking earlier, the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Sir Monday Uko, said it was significant to celebrate the day as the state was blessed with a governor who thinks good of the youths and dream of their development with a vision of creating a better future for them, as seen in his programs concerning the youths. Sir Uko said the essence of engaging youths in civic responsibility can never be overemphasized, as it gives opportunity for them to make meaningful contributions to the society. He urged the youth to appreciate the good policies of government and endeavor to shun negative vices such as would mar their future.
Nigeria, as the signatory to this declaration, observes 12th of August of every year since 1998, and as the International Youth Day. And today, Akwa Ibom youth joined global community to celebrate the International Youth Day.
Guests at the events, which included the State Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, State Executive Council members, and caretaker chairmen of local governments, were entertained by the Cultural Center dance troupe. Colonel Edemefreti reporting.
Churches have been applauded for keying into the education policy of the state government by providing qualitative education to the citizens through the establishment of mission schools. The state governor, Mr. Domi Manu, represented by his deputy, Mr. Moses Epo, gave the commendation during 20 million naira fund launch for the establishment of a nursery and primary school by the St. James Parish Catholic Diocese of Uyo. Ibamedit in a local government area. Patient John completes the story.
Embarking on such project, according to the Deputy Governor, will assist in giving Akwa Ibom children a good future with a sound moral background. Mr. Moses Ekpo described the initiative as partnership with the state government aimed at adding value to the development of the state. He advised the church to conform with the standards set by the Ministry of Education and employ only qualified and credible teachers.
And I encourage the leader of Congo, Kingdom and Akwa Ibom State, and a very strong support for the children who are trained in basic academics. Let them go as soon as you come with a maximum and tell us the school will be as the Usum Minister of Education of Akwa Ibom State, Emoesana. Nursery school will be there if I read it, I have all support very strongly.
In a sermon, the Reverend Father Charles Ifyo, a guest speaker from the Catholic Institute of West Africa, Port Harcourt, admonished the faithful to participate actively in the building of the school as they will be rewarded by God. The Reverend Ifyo commended the church for embarking on the project, which he observed will impact both on the physical and spiritual lives of the pupils.
He who sows sparingly reaps sparingly, who sows cheerfully will also reap cheerfully.
Giving insight to the establishment of the school, the Chairman Pastoral Council of the Church, Mr. Raymond Ekpenyong, said the vision is in line with the Uyo Diocese directive that every parish should establish a nursery and primary school to enable the church bring up children in the fear of God. The school is named Our Lady of Perpetual Help Nursery and Primary School, Ibamede, in a local government area. Patience John, reporting.
The health system in the state is to be fully computerized with installation of medical softwares for efficiency in the sector. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Dominic Upon, gave the hint when members of the National Association of Government General Medical and Dental Practitioners, Akwa Ibom State Branch, visited him in his office. Dr. Upon said facilities in some government hospitals are to be revamped for greater productivity in line with the policy thrust of the present administration, explaining that the move became necessary in view of the dilapidated state of facilities in some government hospitals. He said emergency response ambulances are to be acquired for prompt attention to emergency situations, and appealed to workers in different segments of the health sector to brace up and contribute meaningfully to the growth of the healthcare system. Dr. Pong re-echoed government determination to accord training and retraining of health workers a priority to serve as a motivation for them to compete favorably with their counterparts in other parts of the world.
That is actually an understatement. Everywhere I have gone to see the hospitals, to look at the scope of the health services, it is in a very developing state. I was in psychiatrist the last Saturday. What I saw there was indescribable. Nurses don't wear uniforms anymore. They take drugs to stay at home. So you have 9 nurses to work.
The Chairman of the Association, Dr. Onyeka Mowa, represented by Dr. Prince Efio, intimated the Commissioner with some of the group's activities, which include embarking on free medical outreaches, health enlightenment programs, and community development projects. Dr. Owa said that the association plans to organize medical and surgical outreaches in support of government free health care programs, and pledged the association's desire to partner government in its effort to enhance healthcare delivery in the state.
Therefore, we intend to carry out the following. 1. Organization of a workshop on medical ethics for all our members, and to remind them that the Hippocratic Oath should continue to guide their practice. 2. To organize quarterly CMEs and CPDs for our members to update their knowledge and upgrade their skills. To embark on free medical and surgical outreaches to support the efforts of government in its free healthcare programs.
The government of Akwa Ibom State, through the Budget Office, has commenced the defense of 2016 budget by ministries, department agencies, and commissions. The budget defense, which will last for 2 weeks, has the Commissioner for Finance as its chairman, of Ministries of Economic Development, Women Affairs, and Board of Internal Revenue Service are represented. Yano Paul cover the hearing for AQBC News.
Different ministries and agencies that will attend the budget hearing are administration sector, economic sector, law and justice, subvented agencies, as well as social sector. The hearing started with the Akwa Ibom State Independent Electoral Commission, AKISEC, where its chairman, Mrs. Gloria Okpong, led other top management staff for the defense. Mrs. Okpong explained how 2015 budget for the commission was appropriated and the provision for employment of junior officers in the 2016 budget estimates. The chairman of the Budget Defense Committee, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, State Budget Office, Pastor Nicholas Ekarika, after hearing the estimate, advised that the figure, which was placed at 117 million naira, be cut down due to dwindling of the federal government allocation. The Civil Service Commission was next, led by its Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Ekanema Tar. After deliberation of the Commission's estimates, Pastor Ekarika intimated them on recruitment, revenue, search fees, sales of annual reports, innovation in the publication of the magazine, provision for promotion, and interest. The Commission demanded for the inclusion in the 2016 estimates employment of watchmen, enumerators, and field assistants, which the panel promised will be looked into. After the hearing, the Permanent Secretary, Pastor Nicholas Ekarika, explained that the exercise is to look at the summation of estimates from different ministries, agencies, and departments, provide technical input, and prune down what is known as loss ends from it. Pastor Ekarika noted that from the estimates, the panel will advise those concerned to break new grounds and cut down on unnecessary vacancies to reduce costs and look at revenue profile to ensure that the overhead cost of government is justified.
It's the normal budget hearing from ministries with the state budget committees. The purpose of that committee is to look at the submissions from ministries and then try to provide technical inputs, whether they are commissions, number one, that are in line with the international standard adopted since 2014, that is IPSAS. And we try as much as possible to encourage ministries to look inwards internally to generate more funds.
The Permanent Secretary also said the report of the estimate will form capital components of the entire budget. Thereafter, the panel will collate them, send to the Governor as a draft, who will in turn send to the House of Assembly for approval. He advised those concerned to keep to that date, not to prolong the exercise, and stressed that the exercise so far is highly commendable.
I will also look at the revenue projection and take a stand So after this meeting, this bilateral discussion with ministries, we will now receive a formal report from Minister of Economic Development, which will form the capital component of the entire budget.
The budget defense will continue at the conference hall of the State Budget Office. Iyageno Paul reporting.
The authorities of the University of EU have alerted members of the public and candidates for post-UTME aptitude test about threat by impersonators and criminals to defraud them. The statement by the university has advised all qualified, registered and currently registering candidates for the scheduled 2015-2016 screening exercise to ignore phone calls, text messages, emails and other forms of communications from fraudsters with front names of university officials and demand payment for admission into the University of EU. According to the statement, the university has put in place a watertight process to conduct the post-UTME screening, which will not allow fraudulent persons access to the test. The statement asks that candidates who scored 180 and above in JAM are expected to pay 3,500 naira, adding that the process of payment and the approved banks are published in the Guardian newspaper of Tuesday 11th August and the Pioneer newspaper of Wednesday 12th August 2015. Meanwhile, the University of EU has declared one Dr. Enebele Johnson with account number 0139781885 in GT Banguyo branch and email Dr. Mr. Saich @yahoo.com, who impersonated the admission officer of the School of Continuing Education, University of EU, and warn any person, candidate, or student who transacts any business with Dr. Enebele Johnson that they do so at their personal risk. Be warned. This is AKBC 45 News. More news after the break.
For the best of entertainment, incisive news, captivating and illuminating programs, the latest in politics, in-depth analysis of events, sports, and much more. Keep watching AKBC Channel 45.
Welcome back. I'm Jeffrey Orok. The State Accountant General, Sir Udo Isobara, has bowed out of the State Civil Service. Sir Isobara announced his retirement at the meeting with the management and staff of his office at the Idonsenka Secretariat to you. It's in our report. His report is here presented in our studio.
The Accountant General, Saudo Isobara, gave the rationale behind his retirement, saying that he bowed out of the State Civil Service as a happy man because of the numerous achievements his office have recorded within the years. He said that under his leadership, dignity has been restored to the accounting profession as ministries, departments and agencies in the state have accountants as directors, while 25 new sub-treasuries have been built in local government areas, as well as a state-of-the-art new treasury building and the secretariat equipped with computer facilities. The outgoing Accountant General also mentioned that his office has established an information and communication technology center to train and retrain staff in order to keep them abreast of latest innovation in ICT in terms of service delivery. Sir Isobara noted that his leadership has brought about harmonization of structures for a globally accepted accounting standard known as International Public Sector Accounting Standard, IPSAS, and commended the state government for the opportunity given him to serve, attributing successes recorded within the years to cooperation and teamwork among staff.
Most of our departments were located in Economic Development Ministry and our Ministry of Finance. So we lacked coordination in our activities. But with the building of the Office of the Accountant General and the removal of all these departments to one place, we were able to get ourselves organized.
Staff in their reactions applauded the outgoing Accountant General, Saudo Isobara, whom they described as a destabilized, kind-hearted, straightforward, honest and hard-working administrator. They added that Saudo Isobara has deployed the experience as a professional accountant to bear in the discharge of his services and wish him well in his future endeavor.
Personally, as a person, I have noticed so much and I have learned from you. I have learned hard work, diligence, commitment to duty. So you impacted me and I should believe every other person.
I say you became father. You are a father indeed.
But about the year 2010, I was posted to that office and I worked directly with him. I wasn't very comfortable because some people told us he was always very harsh. But I found in him a very amiable person.
Team Akwa Ibom in the just concluded Special Olympic World Summer Games in Los Angeles, USA, has been commended for making the state proud. The Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Sir Monday Uku, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Nseden, while receiving the team, noted that their wonderful performance in the games, in which they won 4 gold medals, is that Akwa Ibom will remain grateful to the athletes for winning laurels in the international competition, adding that this is the first time Nigeria took first position in Africa in the Special Olympic World Summer Games, attributing the feat to the performance of Team Akwa Ibom.
These ones are fully complete in their own making. They are complete in their own disposition. And they are complete in what you can think about life. And today,
the athletes are Miss Victoria White, who won 1 gold medal in table tennis, and Miss Wina David, a 3 gold medalist in badminton. They are students of Special Olympic Games. In his remarks, the Director of Sports, Coach Aniedi Dixon, noted the contributions of Akwa Ibom sportsmen and women to sport development in the country. It was a moment of praises and thanksgiving for timber dealers of the Ifai Koropon Timber Market, Uyu, as they rededicated the market and their operators to God. The solemn assembly, titled "Let Us Sing Unto the Lord," was held at the Timber Hall, Uyu. In a sermon, Ecclesial Methodist Church of Nigeria, Very Reverend John Ndak said praises and thanksgiving were very important in the life of the children of God. He said the timber traders were charting a worthy course by recognizing God and encouraged them to remain steadfast.
Because you have agreed to come out despite the rain, all those who are pursuing you will find themselves in the sea.
The President Timber Dealers Obong Wemtom Udo said the essence of the rededication service was to unite their traders while giving thanks to God for His benevolence and protection. He said the market has been peaceful in the past years.
If God doesn't give you the strength and the enablement, you will not be able to do it. God is everything, God is all and all in every human level. So I'll feel that it is, since we don't have anything to give to God, in exchange for all the good things He has done for us, then the only thing we have to give God is to praise God.
Commenting on the significance of the gathering, Asukwe Mokun, Brownson Delson, and Ms. Victoria Ikwe said the service was necessary to strengthen the bond of oneness among the timber traders.
God has kept us, defend us from accidents, from tribulation, from problems, to make us to be alive. So
the Nigerian Senate has condemned the activities of electricity distribution companies and has directed the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to put a stop to fixed charges on electricity billings. There are intense moves to enforce the ceasefire in Syria, while in Libya, the United Nations has called for a unity government for that country. Mercy Kere tells us more about these and other stories in our national and foreign news segment.
The Nigerian Senate has directed the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, to put a stop to fixed charges on electricity bills to customers and community metering. The Senate also condemned the activities of electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, including billing their customers despite irregular power supply or total blackouts, and bulk metering of some villages, among others. The Senate has urged the NERC to direct DISCOs to discontinue the practice of compulsory bulk metering of villages and communities in the rural areas. Meanwhile, the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has said that the Senate is looking at the possibility of conducting a public hearing. The House of Representatives, on its part, has summoned the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, to explain the Apex Bank's decision to ban the deposit of foreign currencies into domiciliary accounts. The motion by Honorable Emmanuel Ekun of Abak Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State put forward the need for the Central Bank Governor to address the House on the CBN's foreign exchange policy on rejection of foreign currency deposited by commercial banks in Nigeria. To mark the International Youth Day celebration, which holds on 12th August in more than 65 countries of the world, the United Nations Population Fund has called on governments to invest in quality opportunities so as to give the world a positive transformation. The UNFPA noted that young people are the driving force towards a better future for the world and stressed the need to involve them in decision-making, as denying them the right for meaningful participation is a gross violation of their human rights and a failure of the democratic process. Moving on now to the foreign scene, in Syria, Islamist groups and pro-regime forces have agreed on a 48-hour ceasefire in flashpoint towns in northwest Syria and along the border with Lebanon. The ceasefire will also apply in the rebel-held town of Zabadani as well as two Shiite towns in Idlib province. The ceasefire will allow people, including combatants, to leave the areas concerned and also allow access for food and medical aid. Over time, the United States had accused Iran of backing the rebels, not just in Syria, but also in Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen. U.S. Secretary of State Mr. John Kerry said that Iran has indicated that if the U.S. Congress corrects the recent nuclear deal, then they will be open to talking about the disputes within the region. The United Nations Special Envoy to Libya has called on the country's warring parties to agree on a unity government by the end of August. Libya has been split between two governments backed by armed factions fighting each other. Talks have been dragging on for months without any major breakthrough, as both sides are under pressure from hardliners. The UN proposal calls for a one-year government of national accord in which a council of ministers headed by a prime minister and two deputies would have executive authorities.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org. Follow us on Twitter at AKBC45, on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to the news, the main point again. Akwa Ibom State has marked the 2015 International Youth Day celebration. Governor Dumi Manu, at the occasion, called on youth to serve as development partners with the state government. He also brought you a report that government is too fully computerize the health system in the state. And that's it on the news. Thanks for watching, and I'm Jeffrey Orok.
For the best of entertainment, incisive news, captivating and illuminating programs, the latest in politics, in-depth analysis of events, sports, and much more. Keep watching AKBC Channel 45.